Hello, my name is Laurie Ludwig, and I am a Dharma student. I live in USA in California, and I'm a longtime Tibetan Buddhist student. Today, I'd like to share with you how to set up a Buddhist shrine, its parts, function to support your practice. The shrine in all religious traditions is a focal point, a vehicle to support your connection with the essence and realization of the teachings. Setting it up and working with it can be very valuable practice. I'd like to share my background briefly. I became a student of the Dharma in the 1970s in California, and I met and studied with many of the major Tibetan Buddhist masters of that time and practiced under their direction. My main lineage is the Longchen Mintik, and that is through the Venerable Dodop Chen of Sikkim. And my other Nyingma lineage is Adzan Drukpa's lineage. And I also have studied the Dujum Tersar lineage and have a connection through His Holiness Dujum Rinpoche II, Jigdal Yeshe Dorje. And I also have a connection with the Sakya lineage through Sakya Treason. So I want to say something about this recording, which is this is being made inside of the Dzogchen Nyingma community. And it's my assumption in presenting this material that you have received a Vajrayana empowerment, a Buddhist Vajrayana empowerment. And the information in this presentation is for insiders, which means people who have taken refuge and had an empowerment. If someone is watching this who does not have that background, please stop watching the video. I'm assuming that all of you have done are qualified. I'm going to give you a tour of the parts of the shrine and how to set it up. And each of you will need to adapt this to your situation, to what you have for a physical space. I have a very condensed physical space here at this shrine, and the time and money that you have and what works for you. But I'm going to give you a lot of information about this shrine setup. So I'd like you to just take a moment to look at what's out there, and then I'm going to walk over and show you different parts of it. So the shrine is arranged vertically and in steps or stages. A lot of people don't have that kind of setup, and it's perfectly fine to have your shrine set up on a flat table, just one level, with offering bowls and everything. So this is a more condensed display. So it's whatever you have space for and what you can use. So the shrine is entered from the front, and in the front you can see some offering bowls, and then you can see a vertical golden torma, and then some pictures and some red and white things, which are other kinds of tormas. And then going vertically back, there's a deity torma, and then a statue, and then a tanka. And that particular tanka is the Longchen Mintik refuge tree, painted by Lama Gompo Tseiden many years ago. And then the other thing you can do with your shrine, if you have the space and the money, is you can create environmental things like flowers and candles and whatever supports it. And another thing about your shrine is this particular shrine is set up for one deity. It's not a generic shrine. And so because of that, color coding is used. So there are what are called 5 Buddha families, and I'm not going to go through all of them because I'm focusing on this one. So this particular one is for Dorje Trollo, and Dorje Trollo belongs to the Lotus family. So the color is red. And so I chose a red cloth to emphasize and tie together all of that. So now I'm going to stand up and walk over to the shrine. And I'm broadcasting with a cell phone, so I can't see what I'm pointing at. And so I've asked my dear Vajra sister, Stephanie Cleary, who's my tech support today, to guide me as I put the camera on different things. So I'm going to stand up and do that now. So I've got to move my speaker too. Okay, so I'm going to cruise in and start with the offering bowls. I was in a teaching with Azam Gyaltse recently, and one of the things he said that was important for practitioners is to generate merit. And the way you do that is by making offerings. And he said, you know, just even offering water has tremendous merit with the right motivation. So one of the major offerings in the Tibetan shrines are water offerings. And this is a double water offering setup. There's a front row and a back row, and it's always 7. And then you can just do plain water, and later on I'll show you other elaborations that you can do with that. So that's the entry point of making offerings to the shrine of the Buddhas. Then the next area is the, oops, I think I lost my video.
No, it's still on. Oops, now you did. No, video's back on. There you are.
Okay. Okay, so now you should be seeing a deity torma, a golden
Yes.
torma.
Yes. Good.
Okay, so I'm down at the base of it. And so that's the base.
Back up a little bit so we could see the base of it.
Okay, so there's the
Thank
base. And I'm going to step over to the other side so I can use my other hand. Okay. So how's that?
It looks good. You could back up a little bit. That's perfect. Thank you.
Okay, so what you see here is a golden base and then a curvy thing, which is called a gotrong. That means a head piece. And then there's an image of a deity, which is Dorje Trollo, and a cute little umbrella. So this thing is actually in parts, and I'm going to take it apart. So the gotrong comes off. I don't break the end. And then the this part here is the actual torma. And so this represents the body of the deity, and it's filled with precious substances inside. You can see the bottom, it's been filled. And then this particular pattern is a 3-tiered pattern. And then I'm going to set this aside for a second to show you the underpinnings. So the way this works is we have the schematic drawing of the mandala, and it have a ring of flames around the outside. And what makes this particular mandala unique is it's got a rim. Here's the flames. Is this working? And then this rim around here is the 8 charnel grounds. And so mandalas that have 8 charnel grounds in them are wrathful mandalas. So that's one way to tell that you're dealing with a wrathful mandala. So then, let me see if I can get this to stand still. The mandala is just the floor plan. So what happens is if you grab the tip here and you pull straight up, the mandala elevates and rises out of the ground plan. Now I'm going to put this back together. Okay, now this torma is what's called a 100 deity torma, which means it's a universal form and shape used for sadhana practices. And what you do is you customize it by attaching a picture of the deity that it's supposed to represent. And there's a bracket on the back that you hook this in, and then you put the picture in for the deity that you're doing. So it's a very handy system of having one torma for many deities, especially if you're traveling. Okay, and then going straight back is a picture of the deity. And here on your shrine, you could have a statue of the deity. You can have a picture. You can have a torma, something to represent a focal point for your deity. And then in this shrine, because I have layers, on the upper layers, you can put statues. if you have upper layers, or if you have a flat one, you can put statues on the back. This is a gorgeous statue of Longchenpa. And then up here is the Longchen Nintik refuge tree. And I'll back up here a little bit so you can see that. And this is Padmasambhava in the center.
Or if you could stand the other way to the left so the ring lights are not.
Oh, that's right.
And then zoom in a little bit. Yeah. Okay, better.
Better.
Yep, thank you.
Okay, so we have Padmasambhava in the center. We have the lineage, all the teachers, Vimalamitra, Kuntuzampa way up the top, and then more lineage people, Dingo Kensei's in there, Adzam Drukpa's in there, Jamyang Kensei Wampo's in there, a whole bunch of people. And then off to the side are the 8 great bodhisattvas. On the other side is the Sangha of Arhats. And then we have on the side a form of Chenrezi called Duknal Rangdro, which is a white standing figure. And on the other side is the Dakini Dechen Gyalmo. And then the Buddhas of the 3 times are in the sort of an arc under a rainbow, if you can, I don't know, you can see this detail. And then we have Vajrakalaya in the center. And then we have the 3 deities, Rahula, Ekajati, and Dorje Lekpa. So it's a very rich setting. And this is our refuge. This is our refuge tree for the Longchen Nintik. So then I'm going to go over, yeah, I'll do Menenrakta now. Can you see this container? So on the shrine, especially for tantric practice, we have inner substance called men or medicine, mendrup, and we have rakta or special blood. And so these substances are used in certain ritual practices and in the soaks. So these containers, they opened, and then they have spoons. And so sometimes the shrine keepers will come in and stir it a little bit and pour it. So the rakta, or this is men, the men is medicine. So it's good to, sometimes you go in a ceremony and you can drink that. And it's filled with a nice alcohol or whiskey or something. And then on the other side, see if I can do this safely. On the other side is the rakta or blood, and that is black tea. And so those are the 2 things. It each has a spoon. There's a color-coded spoon. The rakta has a red piece, and the men has a turquoise piece, so you can tell them apart. And it's very strict not to mix the substances up. Now on the shrine, we have 2 tormas. This is what's called the Chado Torma, and this represents the protectors. And then this other Torma here, this is for Dorje Trollo, so this is a special shape just for that practice. It's 3 Tenma sisters. So when you do a soak, mostly Guru and Yidam sadhanas have Tenma and Chado prayers and offerings, and a lot of the Dakini practices don't have them. So what happens is when you do the soak, one of those tormas you set up is for the Chado. And what you're doing is you're commanding, you, the practitioner, are commanding the protectors to remember their oath to protect practitioners. And you offer them you exhort them, and this torma gets offered outside up on a high level, because this actually is a representation of the protectors. And similarly for the 3 Tenma sisters, and there are 12 of them all together. In Tibet, there were 12 mountain goddesses that protected the land, and Padmasambhava tamed them and bound them to the Dharma. And so he said, I will make my students give you offerings when they do soak. So please remember your oath to protect the Dharma. And so that's what this torma is about. Okay, and then for the soak, the Soktor visible? Okay.
Yes, it's perfect.
Okay, so for the soak, there's a special shape, and this is something that you're supposed to have for the soak, and you to have it eaten. And there's a special way of cutting it. And then there are 3 plates. This work, 3 plates on the shrine.
You went sideways. You went sideways.
Okay. Is that good? Okay, so there are 3 plates on the shrine.
We can't see the plates though. Yeah. Oh, yeah, you turned it sideways again.
I turned it sideways too. Okay, so you see 3 plates?
You turned it to the side again. So yeah. Okay.
Okay, how about here? It's
Thank
1
you.
plate.
Yep. 2, 3.
2,
Thank you.
3. Okay, when we do a soak ritual, the soak is basically 3 prayers. So the first prayer is making offerings to the Buddhas, which generates tremendous merit. The second one is making confession for all of our breakages of vows and things we've done. And the third one is to liberate obstructing forces. So what happens is the Soktor gets cut up. So let's see what I can do here. Okay, sideways.
Almost had it, but now you turned sideways.
But can you see it?
I can, but the camera's turned sideways. It's not.
I know, I did that on purpose. I'm doing it portrait. Doesn't work. Okay. Okay, see the problem?
Lower the camera. Good. Perfect. Perfect.
Oh, okay, good. All right, so now I'm going to cut the torma. It's been blessed. So the tip is going to go over to the Buddha plate. The next level is like making a quarter, like a 25-cent piece sideways. And I'm slicing a wedge like this. And that goes in the second plate. And then the third cut is plunged in to make a pyramid upside down. So I'm angling the knife at an angle to make 3-sided incision. And then I very carefully, this is a soft dough, ease the little wedge out. And you have a sort of triangular shape. And that goes on the liberation plate. And then later in the soak, there's a suppression, or there's a prayer where you do that. Now, the other thing that happens to the soak torma is 2 more cuts. This is a lama plate. So the lama gets the best part, the front of the torma. And that would go on top of all the other food and stuff on his plate or her plate. And then the back of the torma goes to what's called the remainder offering. So in Azam Pelo Rinpoche's and other Ajahn Drupa practitioners, the remainder offerings are only given as pure offerings. So this plate would have been made up with some other food on it that had already been selected from the soak. And in this tradition, it's not a custom of individuals taking food from their own plate and putting it on the remainder plate. Other sanghas do that, but in our tradition, that's not done. It's just a pure remainder plate that's prepared. And then after that, the torma would be cut up and then people would be served the pieces of the torma. I'm focusing on the shrine activity. So we have for the shrine with the soak tour, 3 shrine plate offerings, the Buddha plate, the offering for offerings. We have let's see, I can put it over here. We have the confession plate and we have the liberation plate. And then the liberation plate will be later be given to the Lama to do a ceremony with it. So that covers that. And let's see what other goodies are there.
That worked, but you're now still to the side.
Oh, I mean sideways?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, you want it vertical.
Mhm.
All right, so this is a general overview of the shrine itself. So now I'm going to go back and sit down and show you some details about all of these offerings. So one of the things about the offerings, bowls in particular, we're going to spend time on offering bowls, is that it's very meticulous to have them clean and to refresh the water. This is like what's called Kriya Yoga. And then the spacing, it's like I had a Kempo who was a monk who was showing us how the monks very carefully like measure the distance with their thumb to make sure that the bowls are at the right distance. And then the spacing is like 1 rice grain apart, although I said, well, is it horizontal or vertical rice grain? I never got an answer to that question. But anyway, that they're evenly spaced. And then also, and I'll have this in the thing, is if you look from the side, straight down, the bowls are straight. There's not one too far forward or too far back. So it's a very precise creating a really ordered space for the shrine. So I see the shrine as like a power generator. And if you have all the circuits aligned and everything, then you can have some really good practice. And if things are a little sloppy and stuff, that can affect your practice too. So I'm going to go back to my seat now and reset up this camera.
We're sideways, Laurie. Okay.
Oh.
Getting there. You have to, I see your hand and the ring. Still your hand, so you have to turn the camera toward the shrine. Now I'm sideways.
There we go.
Sideways, the other way. It's sideways. Yeah.
That's where I have it? Okay.
Sideways, yeah.
Okay, well,
if you turn it just like you just did 2 seconds ago, because right now it's totally sideways. Yeah. Yep, that's it. Thank you.
Okay.
And you might want to angle it a little to the left so we could see the left side of the shrine. Because right now we see a lot of the lamp and a white cloth.
Oh, I see what happened.
Yeah, okay. All right, thank you.
Okay. So now I'm going to share my screen. I'm not sharing my screen, okay. It's not working. Any luck?
Yep, thank you.
Okay. So now I'm going to go into more detail about actually working with the objects on this shrine, particularly the offering bowls. The simplest water offering bowl is a single horizontal row of 7 bowls, and they're filled from left to right. I'll take some water. So 7 comes from ancient India. The Buddha was a person who lived in India. And in that culture, there was a tremendous amount of emphasis on hospitality. So Indian hospitality had 7 offerings that were given to people that visited each other. So a visitor would come to someone's house, and a servant or the head of the household would come out and greet them and give them these 7 offerings of hospitality. So the first offering is offering them cool, clean water to drink. And so in Sanskrit, that's argyam. And the second thing is most of the people in those times walked everywhere. And so there was a custom to have people enter the threshold of the house barefooted. So then the servant or someone would wash the guest's feet, which in Sanskrit is padyam. And then the guest would be offered flowers. If it was a male guest, a garland of flowers around his neck. If it was a female guest, some flowers to put in her hair. And so that's, I didn't put, pushpe. Then the next one is fragrance, incense, dupe, this fresh scent in the air. And the 5th one is light. So butter lamps or candles, aloke, to gladden your eyes. And the one after that is perfume. There's a custom in India of putting perfume or fragrance in water and then scattering the water around the room to make it more fragrant. And so that's gende. And then the next thing is food, offering the guest food. And so in the Tibetan shrine setup, you can create a special torma shape called a xiaozi, a food torma, or you could use a whole piece of fruit like an apple or an orange or something. And so that's Newide. Now, I found an article by Lama Tarchen Rinpoche about the outer offerings, which I will be reading to you, and also the inner offerings. And he says that in the Nyingma tradition, music, sound, shabda, is offered to the ears. And so it's not an object that's offered on the shrine. And he said that music should be offered as an actual sadhana of the music and the sadhana with bell and damaru and other musical instruments. But I'm sure you've seen other places where somebody has put an 8th offering bowl, which could be a bell or a hand cymbal or something, or a conch shell. But I'm sharing with you what I've learned about the Nyingma tradition. So the 7 offering bowls of hospitality become an offering of worship. You're offering to a deity, an enlightened mind, to these offerings at the beginning of your encounter. So then I'm going to go through, let's see, the article about the outer offerings, which I found very interesting. Okay, so I just did the outer offerings, but I want to now do the inner offerings. Lama Tarchen was very clear in saying that for your shrine, the inner offerings, which are wrathful offerings, are pure water. So at your shrine, you have the first 2 offering bowls are water for washing and water for drinking. However, on the wrathful side, the back row, they have wrathful indications. So it's said that the first water offering for drinking is blood, and it's trakkichudyan, but you use pure water. The second thing for washing the feet is poisonous foot washing water. Then the third one for the flowers, I'm going to get into this in a second. I'll give you pictures, is a wrathful torma of the five senses, and it's usually made out of oat dough or sampa. And then the next offering for incense, rather than fragrant incense, is great fat burning incense. So that might be human fat that would be burned. And then the next in the lamp or the candle offering is melted fat. And again, that may be human fat for marme. And then for perfume, it says bilious perfumed water. So that would be bad smelling something. Again, you're offering pure water. And then for the wrathful food offering, it says brain, fat, bone marrow, rotten meat. And there's a special support torma for the wrathful offering, which I'm going to show you in a moment. And then if you were using this then the eighth offering for music would be the skull of Damaru playing wrathful music. But again, it's not put on the shrine, it's symbolically in the sound of the music itself. So now, generally we do two offering bowls. The outer front row is filled right to left. And then the inner row, the back row, is filled left to right. And the outer offerings are traditional offerings of hospitality from India, which I just went over. The inner offerings, as Lama Tarchin said, are more tantric, wrathful offerings, but you still use regular water, but they have wrathful visualizations. So now, one of the things I mentioned earlier was careful attention to aligning and spacing the offering bowls. This is a mindfulness practice. It's very important to space the rows horizontally, going this way, and then in relation to themselves. Now, with the bowls that I'm using, the copper bowls are a little bit wider diameter. These are about 3-inch diameter bowls. And so they don't perfectly match up, but I did the best I could to get them to align. Now, the offering details. This is a shrine where instead of offering the water only, you have accoutrements. So traditionally, uncooked white rice is offered as a food offering, and in the bowls that don't have water. But here, semi-precious polystones are being used. So it's like you can do things, if you have more means, you could put gold dust in it, or something. So I'm going to walk through what's going on in these bowls. So I'm starting with the peaceful one, and we have the two water offering bowls. And then we have candle or flower. What is it? Okay, so then you have a flower in the form of, it looks like a wax candle. Now, the next thing is the incense. So in position of the incense sticks, these look like they're like a teepee, maybe 3 or 4 cross sticks. So various lineages have various combinations of what to do with the incense sticks. And Lama Tarchin from the Dujum Teresar tradition, and I had learned this from another tradition too, it's just simply 2 vertical sticks, a little bit spaced apart in the center of a bowl of uncooked rice. And he wrote that the 2 sticks represent merit and wisdom. But there are many, many traditions of how to arrange the sticks. And then you have a candle, so you can have different kinds of candles. You could have a little electric tea light, but something as a light offering. And then here it looks like a bottle of perfume is being offered. Sometimes you can have a little dish of water and actually put perfume in the water rather than have stones in it to hold that. And so then sometimes with the water offerings, you get to be flexible about, this could be the perfume could be a water offering, or it could be, if you're using a perfume bottle, a rice offering. And then it looks like there's probably a piece of fruit over there, like an apple, as opposed to the soaked torma. Now, the back row gets really interesting. Let's see, do I have it? Okay, I'll walk you through. So we have the two water offerings, and then there's a red thing in there, which I'm going to detail in a second. And that is an offering. It's called a flower offering, but it's the offering of the five senses, literally: eyes, tongue, ears, nose, mouth. And I'll show you that in a moment. And then you have the incense, and then the candle, and then the perfume. And then at the end, the food torma is also a wrathful form. And I have some detailing I can show you now. So this is a modified arrangement that was done at a New York City empowerment. And so what's interesting here is there wasn't an equal set of bowls. So you have a large set of bowls. So the compromise was to put the two water offering bowls to the side. And then you have a flower in the rice. And then you have one of the more elaborate arrangement of incense. And then you have a tea light. And I'm not sure what the perfume is. And then you have the shalze, the traditional food offering torma that goes in the plates. And this is really a nicely done one. Then in the back row, you have the two water offerings that are wrathful, and it looks like that might be a rose or a torma, so I'm not sure. Oh no, that might be the wrathful sense offering. And then you have incense, but here the incense are arranged differently. So I haven't seen the incense being different. Usually, if you're doing the incense, they'd be the same in both bowls, but I wasn't there. The other thing that happens here is the next offering should have been the lamp, but it's the perfumed water. So those two were reversed. And again, from my knowledge, when you do the two rows of offerings, the same object is in the same position. So I'm not sure about that. And then this is the wrathful food torma, which I have a detail of later. I was very excited to see because I didn't have an image of that. So now, there's a store called Potala in Oregon, I think, that carries a whole bunch of cool Dharma supplies. And so these are examples of the tormas. And the problem with their tormas is some of them are too large for the offering bowls. But so this is a version of the peaceful white torma, or Shiva. It says Shiva, but it means Shiva. Shiva is for peaceful. And so this is the front, and it's got painting on it. This is the side. It's a very beautiful torma shape. And this is the back again, the torma shape. And here is an Adsam Drupa peaceful shalze that the monk had prepared for that shrine in the previous picture. And then the wrathful flower offering. This one is one from Potala Gate. It's called Wangpo Metak, wrathful flower. And so the flower is up here, and then it's covered, and then the triple gems spring out from it. But what's down here is the offering of the five senses. So you're offering literally the eyes, the eyeballs, the tongue is up here, the teeth for taste. And then here's a profile. And then the nose is up here. And then now let's look at the profile. So this is the eye socket. And this is the nose channel. And then another eye socket. And then this is the back. So you can see that this is the flower back. This is the jewels, and then this is the back of the eye socket and the two eye sockets and the nasal channel. They're very graphic. And then I had found another one. Okay, so this is a wrathful flower. So this is clearer. You can see the petals of the flower and the leaves up here. And then you see the eyeballs and then the ears and the tongue sticking up and the mouth. And then this side angle over here, the side view shows, it looks like the nostrils are down here, although I thought they were up there, but it's quite wrathful. And then the back side, I learned to make this kind of torma. So on the back side, the eyes, you have the nerves of the eyes going out and they cross over, because I think maybe anatomically the eye nerves actually do cross over in the brain. And then there's a tongue and the back of the ears and like that. Okay, so now we're to the wrathful food offering. This is really wrathful. So the basic shape is a triangular shape on the top. And then it has a white base with some horns and jewel offerings. And so that's the front. Then you can see the side. So each side has these little black chevrons, and the front side are decorated with a dot pattern and the two sides. And then what's happening is on the crest of the sides are flames. So flames with jewels on each side of the crests. And then you can see how they're pinched out. There's the flames. So it's blazing. And then that's the backside. And so if Gate hasn't sold out on those, you can get those. But you have to look at the measurements if you look at these, if you want to buy them, because some of them are just too large for your offering bowls. And then you can just copy them and make them out of clay. So then this is the Adzumgrupa Wrathful Shauze. And I was very happy to see that shape because I hadn't seen that tradition. And then this is from the New York Empowerment, the Peaceful Food Offering, the Wrathful Food Offering, and then the Kartor, which isn't part of the offering bowls, but something that's used and made. Okay, so now is my transition.
You can stop sharing if you
Okay.
got that.
No, I think I might be finished.
Are you going to stop share so we could see you?
Oh. Oh. Thank you.
You're welcome. And
Okay.
and then if you, I don't know what, if you said that you're finished, but I could always put the prayers up, the end prayers.
Okay, well, let me just do a summary here. So what I've done today is show you about the Tibetan Buddhist shrine and the different elements of the shrine and the different function of the shrine. So we talked about the physical offering bowls in the front, the peaceful and wrathful offerings, what goes into the bowls, and the different elaborations that you can do. You could do just simply water, or you could do rice and water, or you could, get really detailed about what each piece is. And we talked about the way to design a shrine, which is to have it in tiers, in levels, or just have a flat tabletop and arrange things around on the tabletop. And then we covered what's on the shrine, which is a deity representation, a torma, a picture. You could have just a torma or just a picture. There are, when you're doing a soak ritual, you have, for some sadhanas, a Chedo Tenma, a Chedo and a Tenma tormas on the shrine, which are taken and offered later in the ritual. And then we talked about the soak tor and how to cut the soak tor and make the 3 soak offerings of offering, confession, and liberation. And let's see what other pieces. Okay, so and then the men and rakta, which are used sparingly, but there are some rituals where the men and rakta are stirred and sometimes sprinkled on top of the torma substances. And then just the general layout of that. So I'm happy to share this with you. I hope it will enhance your experience of working with the rituals. And I I don't think I want to do question and answers. We're not set up for that. Stephanie has my email. If you have any questions that you want to ask later, that's perfectly fine. So I think we should go into closing prayers and dedicate the merit for this. Okay, there. So I'll say this. Gewa di kewoken sonam yeshe sokso shin sonam yeshe le junwei dampokun ning to parcho. By this merit in all my lives, I perfect accumulations of merit and primordial wisdom. And from the arising of merit and primordial wisdom, may I attain the two sacred kayas. Long life for Ajahn Palo Rinpoche. Om Swasti Lume Kyabne Gatsoi Tukjin Gi Tendroi Gunpung Drinchen Chuki J Girme Tukten Gatso Pelzang Po Shabe Tenching Desing Tebtu Shok. Embodiment of the power of blessings and infallible ocean of refuge, gracious Dharma Lord, guardian of the teachings and sentient beings, glorious and excellent Gurme Tupten Gyaltso, unchanging ocean of Buddhist doctrine. May your lotus feet be steadfast and your actions be all encompassing. Lume Kyabne Gyaltsoi Tuchin Gi Tendroi Gunpun Drinchen Shuki J. Girme Tupten Gatso Pelzan Po Shabe Tenshing Zatrin Kunkyab Shok. Jetsama. Om Swasti, by the power of truth of all the infinite Buddhas, Jetsun Tara's present, Chime Wang, strong deathless lady, sublime Sherab Chutso, wisdom Dharma ocean, may you ever remain and your activities pervade everywhere. Om Swasti, by the power, truth power of all infinite Buddhas, Jetsun Tara's present, Chime Wang, strong deathless lady, sublime Sherab Chutso, wisdom Dharma ocean, may you ever remain and your activities pervade everywhere. Om Swasti, by the truth power of all infinite Buddhas, Jetsun Tara's present, Chime Wang, strong deathless lady, sublime Sherab Chutso, wisdom Dharma ocean, may you ever remain and your activities pervade everywhere. Om Swasti Durne Girme Otsal Chuni Dan Lekton Tekcho Dorje Nyingpo Yi Shingta Chenpo Yeshe Guntrogar Chogi Tuku Sokse Tabtun So. Om Swasti, primordially unchanging luminosity, the true nature Dharmata, is revealed perfectly in the Vajra essence, a sublime supreme vehicle, great charioteer of this path, whose wisdom mind manifest in the dance of magical emanation, and the supreme Nirmanakaya, Girme Tekcha Dorje, may he remain strong here forever. Om Swasti Dunye Girme Utsal Chuni Dun Legton Tekcho Dorje Ningpo Yi Shingta Chenpo Yeshe Guntrogar Chogi Tuku Tsokche Tagzuk Shok. May all lamas have good health, and may their lives be long and excellent in every way. May their enlightened activities flourish, and may we have the blessing to be inseparable from our teachers. At this very moment, may the people and nations of this earth not even hear the words disease, famine, war, or suffering, and may pure conduct, merit, wealth, and prosperity increase, and may supreme well-being and good fortune always arise. Ngang drak rigsung langang chukung ang kudang yeshe ropar jamle pae zabzang neljor chempoi nyamlen la yerme tuki tigle rochik sho. In the state where the three vision, sound, and awareness are deity, mantra, and dharmakaya, this is the encompassing display of kayas and primordial wisdom. In the practice of the profound secret great yoga, may the one taste be inseparable, heart tigle manifest. So thank you very much for your attention. I hope this was helpful for you. And I'm just really happy to share this. I wish you a good night or good afternoon or good morning.
Thank you, Laurie. Okay, I ended the stream. So let me make sure it ended. Yep.